If you asked me if I'd be doing something like this 5 years ago, I just couldn't even fathom that I'd be doing craft or art for a living. I probably would have told you that that's just not a possibility for me. I was raised in a very conservative family in a very rural part of eastern Oregon, eastern Washington. So life didn't seem to have like a lot of kind of surreal, exciting possibilities like that. It was pretty much drilled into my head that getting good grades and going off to college and getting a real job was the only thing that I could be considering. I have very high spectrum ADHD, and I went through pretty much my whole entire life just managing that on my own. And the great thing about that is I think it made me a lot tougher and more independent, and it kind of caused me to kind of learn how to navigate things in more novel ways and more outside of the box kind of ways. Being where I was from in a very rural part of the state, you know, when I needed that break and I needed to get lost, I could do that because literally a block or two away from where I lived, I could take off into the mountains and go exploring and escape the things that were very trying for me at that time. And the other huge part, aside from nature, was art. I didn't have a ton in common with my family growing up, but the one thing that they did support me on, whether they participated or understood, was they always supported me in being creative. So moving to Seattle to go to school at University of Washington, that was a huge change for me. Being from that really kind of conservative family, it was kind of like that footloose situation where like we weren't allowed to listen to most radio stations growing up. You know, I have a memory of my mom finding my brother's rap CDs when we were in high school and taking a hammer to them and destroying all of them. So the kind of music that helped me to escape and helped me process my emotions and the things that I was going through, I wasn't really able to pursue that until I, kind of went on my own way being in Seattle and really identified with kind of more of the hard rock kind of metal scene. You know, after college was over with, I still continued on actually in a career, or so I thought, in luxury retail. So by day, I was all, prim and proper and dressed to the nines, taking care of customers at a very well-known luxury retailer, like I said. But by night, I was out getting wasted and going to rock and metal shows. I think I, had some pretty memorable experiences, but a lot of it wasn't so great. It was kind of like event after event after event kind of came crashing down in my life, where I got to a point where I literally just needed to say, fuck it, and just start over. I was very casually introduced to a handful of leather carving tools by a friend at the time. At that point, I kind of had felt like I had tried every medium on the planet. I was always pretty darn good at most art mediums, but I never found anything that really clicked and that kept me on it and that I wouldn't get bored with. And there's just something about the movement and the concentration that was required to manipulate those tools and create the art that I knew how to create visually. It just occupied like every part of my brain that normally would fight with one another and create so many issues for me. It's like I could just put all those parts of myself and all those talents and the ways that my brain works into one spot, and everyone played nice. So instantly I knew I had to continue and buy a bunch of materials and tools and get started on that. I just at that point didn't know that would remotely lead to the possibility of paying my bills that way. And once I started getting really quite good at the tooling, and I was like, I really don't want to get on a sewing machine, but I knew that I wanted to make that stuff. I want to say I was reading an article, I think it might have been about Hermes, and I read about how they still continue to use old traditional practices of hand stitching the leather. And something about that really clicked. And I think I knew at that point, if I could learn how to saddle stitch, I could pursue this, and I could combine the world of kind of the American sort of art form of tooling or carving leather and mix it with the European discipline of luxury leather goods. There's no possible technology that I can picture that especially would be affordable to the average person that could ever create some kind of sewing machine that could do the saddle stitch. I take a lot of pride in knowing that I create all of my work using that because it's not something that can be replicated by a machine. It's a lot of work and it's a pain in the ass, but I take pride in the fact that I create all my leather goods that way. That's been my path ever since, and nothing will ever stop me from wanting to get better. I don't need to be the best, but I'm never going to stop learning, and I'm never going to stop bringing the best that I can to myself and my customers. I've been in Seattle for 20 years now, and I'm part of, unfortunately, what's becoming sort of a dwindling culture, art, and music scene. It feels pretty incredible knowing that I'm a part of preserving something that's embedded in history, and new isn't always better. And with the giant tech boom that we're experiencing here, we're seeing a lot of those historic and cultural parts that make our city vibrant, pretty quickly disappearing. So in my own small way, I hope that I'm contributing to something meaningful there. That's where I'm at now. I'm in my 5th year of leatherwork. I still have a ways to go, but I'm pretty damn proud to say that I can make a handbag or a dog collar or a wallet or a guitar strap that slays the quality of what is being mass-produced and readily available off the rack. It's a special thing, and I'm doing it literally from my living room couch. The simpler I keep things and the more real to myself I keep things, I feel like I make myself and my work more accessible to everyone else.